Shiri Katalan. Ever since I met you a few months ago, been dying to do this Riverside chat with you. So thank you for joining me. And today we're going to be discussing something that really irks you, apparently. And I can understand why, but let's have a go anyway. Brand awareness. Okay, why? Why does it really ruffle your feathers?
I feel like this discussion is made as if every company is Nike or Apple, and doesn't take into consideration how expensive brand awareness it is and how unreachable it is for quite a lot of companies in the market. So if you're an early stage startup or a small company, a company with 200 people, 500 people, doesn't have to be very small. Your ability to get to brand awareness is very small. It requires big budgets that most of us don't have at those stages of our life cycle as a company, and also a lot of energy and planning. And companies in those stages usually just live from, deal to deal, or from a few dozen deals to a few dozen deals. And the whole concept of brand awareness requires planning in advance and a lot of strategic thinking that you're not always able to have in those moments, even if you really wanted to.
So yes and no. I think that just like the smaller companies don't have budget for brand awareness, you can say that smaller companies don't have the kind of budgets that Nike and Apple have in order to invest in marketing. Full stop. And I think that whilst obviously we can't aim for the same kind of level of brand awareness, I think that if a marketer is doing their job as they should be saying, okay, we want to get in front of these people. Okay, these people means maybe 1,000, 2,000 companies. These people means maybe 10,000 people in the whole of that group. And for those people, we want those people to be aware of us. That's brand awareness. And then when the salespeople are trying to outreach and when we do various campaigns, then it's easier. But I don't think that we can rule out brand awareness altogether because we don't have the budget. That's when lead gen doesn't work because you have no brand awareness, even within the smaller target group.
I do agree with that. I mean, I believe that there is this basic work that does need to be done in order to get to results. And you do need something. You can't start with just picking up the phone and having the salesperson, hopefully being able to convince the person on the other side. Having said that, that is the reality of a lot of companies. And so I think that what bugs me is the fact that every conversation about marketing starts with, but you should really have a strong brand. And most of us don't get to have that. And the ones that do, it takes quite a lot of years to get to actual brand awareness, to people really, recognizing your brand. But I do agree that there are a few things that you can do early on, even at the very beginning of your, life in a company, the marketing department's life in a company, that you could do in order to help. But it does require a lot of creativity. It does require to do things a little differently. And I feel like the guidelines, the playbooks out there just don't discuss that. There's just this assumption of brand is the basis of everything. And I want to say, no, it's not the basis of everything. It's great. It will, push you forward very quickly if it's there. But the very first stages require something just a bit different in order to get started.
So it's interesting that you say that you feel that most conversations start about brand awareness. I'm saying that not enough conversations start with brand awareness. Like a lot of times we get, even before we start with a client, we're in the negotiation stages, we're talking about, what we can do for them. They're like, we want leads. No. Of course we want opportunities. And we're like, nobody knows who you are. Let's start with some brand awareness, or let's do brand awareness in conjunction with, in parallel at the same time. You can't just hit the jugular with lead gen because you're going to be disappointed. So I'm really happy that on your side of the fence you feel that that people are only talking about brand gen, because I guess like we're talking with different people, and it's I'm really pleased to hear that those discussions are happening, because I was really getting worried out there. I do know that because we're banging on about brand awareness, then more companies are starting to talk about it. But I wasn't aware that it had reached that far that you're thinking, yeah, stop talking to me about brand awareness. Like, so it's like I'm actually kind of happy that that's happening.
I think
But
it's maybe my ears are just a little sensitive because I feel like there's a whole bunch of us marketers that are being ignored out there. And maybe we need a little love.
You know what? I'm really hoping that when folks are listening to this recording, they'll actually add in the comments whether they feel that there is too much talk about brand awareness or not enough, because it would be a really interesting conversation to carry on LinkedIn, let's face it. But we also got to talking about, okay, so you're not Apple and you're not Nike, and, okay, you understand the relative importance of brand awareness, but, what do you do in order to get leads in the door, to get opportunities to your sales folks when you don't have massive budget? And I know that you've been really creative in the companies that you've worked with, and so please give us some juice. What can our fellow marketers do?
Well, I feel like the secret in those early stages, but not just early stages. I mean, if you're a mid company and you don't have that brand recognition we all want to have, I think the secret is to do steps that give you kind of both things at the same time. So my favorite thing is, or one of my favorite things is doing a podcast in a way that is integrated in your funnel and that helps you show what a professional you are, what your brand is really about, and be able to do, both things at the same time. Events are really helpful when you do those things, when you're trying to get both leads and brand at the same time. And also, I have smaller examples of things that have both things. So one of the examples that I use is a gifting project that we did. I call it ABM Light, or ABM for the poor, because ABM it's usually this massive strategy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Strategy is complex, and they always talk about big teams being involved and the whole thing. And we did it
very expensive and very complicated, and you need to set it up and processes. Yep. No, we know the
exactly. And you need the brand. You have to have the brand when you get started, right? And so what I'm trying to say is not that brand is not important, but you can sometimes accomplish quite a lot, even if you do a few shortcuts. So, for example, the gifting project that we did was aiming at a bit of brand, but also performance. We wanted to get demos as fast as possible. We wanted to shorten the sales cycle as much as we could. And our assumption was that if we get very high touch points in which the relationship is also built, in which we create emotions, we can get everything moving a lot faster. And we did. We launched this very low budget gifting process. We sent people Amazon gifts. We had a lot of fun with that. And I think the secret to quite a few of our successes was enjoying the process. Before Halloween, we sent those really crazy ghosts that you hook to the electricity and they fly and they have lights in them.
Oh, cool.
And that was very cheap. And that worked incredible because people actually used them. This was the United States. They needed it in order to decorate their homes for Halloween. And so we really were able to create this sense of gratitude. And that was absolutely amazing. We used arcades that we got on Amazon. They were also very cheap, something that was nostalgic, that reminded people of a moment in their lives that they probably enjoyed. And obviously the messaging had to make sense, and everything had to make sense. It wasn't just about having a very cool gift, but that really helped. Mm-hmm. And because we sent the gifts from Amazon, and Amazon does not allow you to brand anything, and the messages that you can, put on the gift is very, very short because it's supposed to be happy birthday or anything or something like that. We sent a postcard before, and that was the branded part. So they got a postcard. The postcard was very creative. It was very beautiful. And they told them that they're about to get a gift from us, and about their problem, how we solve it, a QR code, landing page, the whole thing. And then a cadence, email, phone calls, the whole 9 yards.
You remember what the results were?
Well, first of all, we had a very, very talented person doing the phone calls. So I want that in because, and we did a lot of them. We experimented quite a lot before we got results. But at the end, what we really got is 0 no-shows. That means that every demo that we booked, everybody that said that they're going to show up did show up, and people who work with outreaches know that that's a big problem. I don't remember the exact numbers because it was quite a while ago, but What we did get were a few things. First of all, the gatekeepers. We were able to go past the gatekeepers. Usually we get hanged up at that moment. And I think almost everybody, we got to talk to the person themselves. So we got past the secretary and also the first seconds of the phone call where you say, hi, I'm calling about the package we sent, and not, hi, I'm Shiri from Global Dots. I'm trying to sell you something. Please don't hang up. And so we got to the moment where we could actually pitch, and salespeople know that is extremely difficult. And then the whole feel around the conversation was completely different because people recognized us with this really amazing thing that they got, that they liked, which they thought that was, nice and made them feel really great. And the whole conversation was a smiling conversation. So people listened, they reacted, they were longer. The conversation were really long. People really interacted with us. It was an engaging conversation, which was a very big difference for our SDRs. And in the end, we did book quite a few demos from that. We really, this project was deemed a success, a very big success. And again, 0 no-shows, all the demos, everybody showed up. And those conversations went really well as well. So this was like low budget, nothing too complex, no big teams involved. Budgets were not very small, but quite small, definitely smaller than what we spend on ads today. And the results were way better also.
Amazing. Love it. I love it. I think that, first of all, you're making me want to go out and try this myself. So pretty cool. And also, I think that if we're talking about more cost-effective means, I think that marketers often run to Google and LinkedIn as the only sort of like salvation to getting leads. And I'd like to suggest that there are LinkedIn alternatives because let's face it, we're all suffering a little bit from LinkedIn fatigue. You want to get leads? Oh, you have to do it on LinkedIn. Well, actually, no, you don't. And we've been experimenting quite a lot on channels such as Reddit, channels such as Quora, and various sort of like industry niche sites as well and publications that obviously your crowd is there. So if you're doing your segmentation and targeting work, then why not, meet the folks where they're hanging out kind of thing. You don't need to rely on very expensive LinkedIn. Love your LinkedIn, but hey, you're expensive. And there are also, other means. Why not advertise on podcasts? Again, niche podcasts where you know that your folks are hanging out. There are a bunch of alternatives that I'm going to be talking about more in the very short term future. But I just want marketers to start sort of like thinking beyond, the brand awareness, thinking beyond the LinkedIn and the Google alternatives, thinking beyond the expensive ABM. And I'm really, so delighted that you've given here some real life examples that have worked for you. Amazing case study.
And I completely agree. And I'd like to add that we're all attacked constantly with marketing everywhere we go. And so I think that if you are kind of low budgets or not very big budgets, trying to do different and not just more, and definitely not more of the same, will usually get you better results because you can't fight the big players. You can't outplay them. They have bigger budgets. And also, I think that all of us who are in LinkedIn and all of us who are, searching Google and are on the other social media, we're not as responsive as we used to be, especially when it comes to B2B. Because shoes, I still shop for shoes,
We could have a hold of conversation about the shoe shopping, but okay, amazing. Any closing words that you want to share with us?
Have fun and get creative. I feel like it's cliche, but in the end, it works. There's a reason it's a cliche. It just works.
Most of us get into marketing because it's it's the exact cross between being data driven and creativity. You don't have to decide whether to be serious or more fun. So we should be doing more of this creative stuff. That's what it's all about.
Agreed. I used to be a lawyer, and so I got into marketing for creative and fun. And I feel like at some point we forget because the methods most of us use are not creative nor fun, but there is a lot of things that we can do that are both creative and fun. And I think they're very successful as well.
Amazing. Shiri, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. And I know
Really.
I'll be seeing you around the block. Thank you.
Thank you.